Hey friends! Today on Reviving the Victory Homestead, I'm going to show you how to turn those chicken bones from last night's dinner into a delicious chicken broth. So join me in the kitchen and I'll show you how I do it. Hey friends, and welcome into my kitchen. So, bone broth. It is very, very simple to make, and it's a great way to get the most out of your dollar. If you purchase whole chickens and roast them, those bones have goodness left inside that we're gonna simmer out. So, a big stock pot. If you do not have a big stock pot, I recommend investing in one. They're not that expensive. You can find them in your grocery stores, your box stores, or even online. But a big stock pot is always good to have when you're making broths and bone broths and things like that. So inside, I have a chicken carcass here. And again, if you roasted a chicken last night and you picked off all the remaining chicken, that carcass will go right into the pot. I have chopped up some onion. I'm just gonna throw it right in the pot. I have cloves of garlic from my garden last summer, and that's gonna go right in. And then I have chopped up carrots. Now, you'll notice that I'm throwing stuff in that looks like this. We're straining out just the broth, so we don't have to worry about onion skins or carrot tops or the garlic paper. All that can go right in. And even better, if you do a little prep work ahead of time, anytime you chop an onion, you can save the scraps. Anytime you chop a carrot, you can save the scraps. I usually have a gallon size bag in my freezer where I hang on to the bits and pieces of vegetables, and anytime I'm ready to make a stock, I just pull the Ziploc bag out and dump it right in. So we have our chicken and we have our vegetables. I'm gonna go ahead and take my glove off now, and I'm going to add some salt and pepper. Not a whole lot, maybe like a tablespoon or so. You can also use peppercorns. I love using peppercorns. I just don't have any right now. And I'm gonna give a little handful of salt. Now, once this has simmered down for a good long while, you can always taste it and adjust the seasoning to your taste. So we've got all of our goodness in here. We're gonna take this pot of water, or we're gonna take the pot and we're gonna fill it with water until the top of the chicken is covered. And we're gonna pop a lid on this and we're gonna turn it on simmer, and we're just gonna let it go. And I'll show you what it looks like throughout the process. The best thing is you can simmer this for hours and hours and hours. The longer you simmer it, the richer it gets. You can even do this in a crock pot all day and even overnight. The longer it sits, the better it gets. Oh, I wish you guys could smell this. Hey everybody, so stock check. It is 9:48. I started this stock at around 2 o'clock this afternoon. Take a look at that. You can see from the line here that it's reduced down, which means it's nice and rich. Let's look at the color. I'm just gonna take a little scoop. Look at that color. So what you're seeing on the outside there, that's just fat. That's just from the chicken, and that's totally fine. But look at that rich golden color. So I am not done yet. At this point, you can absolutely take this off the heat, strain it out, and let it cool to room temperature before putting in the refrigerator. From there, it'll last you 7 to 10 days, as long as you don't double dip. Never double dip, because that introduces bacteria, and we don't want that. I'm gonna let mine go for another couple of hours, and tomorrow I'll show you what it looks like. It's gonna be a rich, deep brown, and I'm so excited. It's gonna be great. You'll notice that becoming a homesteader may or may not make you a night owl. See you in the morning. Hello, everybody. It's the next morning. The stock has been simmering all night long. I let it go for a really long time. I turned the burner off and I went to bed for a few hours and came back downstairs and turned it back up, brought it back up to a boil, and let it simmer for another 2 to 3 hours. It's now 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. So this has almost gone for 24 hours. Let's take a look. Look at that. It is so much darker than it was yesterday when I showed you. It has reduced down. I cannot wait. So I'm gonna show you my setup here. I've got a trash can ready, and I've got some tools handy, a spider and some tongs. I'm going to pick up the chicken carcass with the tongs, put it directly into the trash can, and then use the spider to scoop out the onion and the carrot and the garlic and all that. Then I've got a smaller pot and a strainer ready to strain out the little bits that the spider doesn't catch. And then finally, got my half-gallon mason jars with some lids and of course my top. This is a great thing to have when you're trying to pour something into a canning jar. Widens your surface area. So I am going to head and get this done. Probably boring to watch, so I'll go ahead and I will come back and show you my delicious broth in their jars ready to go. All right, folks, here you have it. I have almost a full gallon of delicious, rich, homemade chicken stock. This will last in the fridge for about 7 to 10 days. I'm gonna let it cool to room temperature first before I store it. What you see on the top is just a little oil and fat from the chicken. When it cools down, you can scrape that off because it will harden. On the bottom, there's a little bit of sediment. That's just the little bits of pepper flakes and things that made it through the strainer, but that's perfectly okay too. This broth is great. It was free, if you think about it. Aside from the time it took you to make it, the bones were left over, and if you're saving your vegetable scraps, those were left over too. So I hope you enjoyed this little video on how to make bone broth, and I hope you give it a try. I'm excited for you. Let me know how it works out. Have a great day, guys, and happy homesteading.